Nosferatu. I'm reviewing this movie. I don't know what that voice was. I was doing the like trying to say it with some kind of accent, but then I started saying it after I finished saying the title of the movie. Anyways, Robert Edger's dream passion project, if you will, his remake of Nosferatu is coming out in December, and now that I'm done talking about Venom stuff and Joker stuff, we can start moving towards the end of the year stuff. So I'm gonna have some Wicked related videos. I'm gonna have some Lion King videos. I'm gonna have some Gladiator video. I'm gonna do Gladiator. I'm gonna do Moana, stuff like that. So subscribe for all that. But I'm gonna do some Bob Dylan related videos. A lot of projects going down the pipeline is what I'm trying to tell you. And one of the projects I wanted to do is I wanted to review Nosferatu. Nosferatu is a very interesting movie. I am going to talk about the 70s version as well. I believe this one's from the 70s. Yeah, 1979. I don't know if there's any other versions of Nosferatu, but I'm just going to review this version I bought off of Amazon, and this other version here. I'm sure there's like some knockoff Nosferatu, but I bought this version, and I don't know how different this version differs from Nosferatu, the original Nosferatu. Because the thing is, Nosferatu is a very weird movie. So basically, this movie's, if you can't tell by this cover right here, 100 years old. In fact, it's over 100 years old, because I think this Blu-ray edition. Yeah, it's 102 years old, this movie, at the time I'm making this video. This movie is basically the people who made this movie. I forget what country this movie originated from, but essentially this movie was made as a knockoff of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And so Nosferatu is Dracula, but not Dracula. And there was legal lawsuits with this movie of like the people who made it trying to claim parody when it's not parody, and you know, things like that. It's clearly Dracula if you watch it, and it's kind of interesting because it's Dracula before the Universal monsters had come into existence and like the versions we would know as those characters. I believe there was a Dracula movie before this, or some kind of adaptation in the works, but at this point, like, this film was kind of like the originator of vampire movies. And it's kind of interesting to watch it through that lens. It's a silent film, of course. It's all in black and white. And it's, while the film today, I'm just going to be honest, isn't the most entertaining for me, just as a historical lens, it's a very interesting film to look at via that context. It's, you know, the vampire stuff is fun within the movie. It definitely works. Anytime the vampires are not on screen, I'm kind of just bored and not really interested. But it doesn't really matter because this film's like an hour 22 minute movie, or hour 12 minute movie, something like that. It's a very short movie, and it plays, it runs, you know. But it's kind of interesting to also watch a movie like this because back in the day, this movie was deemed so scary that it was actually banned in a few countries. I forget which ones. I think Sweden was one. And it is very interesting to think about that. Because, like, today this isn't scary. It's goofy. In fact, a lot of the music in this movie isn't scary. It's really goofy music because it feels like stuff that would be seen in, like, parodies or something with the silly you're talking about. Back then, it's scary music, and it's just kind of interesting to watch films via that lens. It's a very interesting film, and of course, I think another thing I should mention: I think most people my age and just of the last 25 years, maybe longer, best know Nosferatu from SpongeBob, you know, and that's what that character was. He was from this movie. It's kind of a very strange, weird gag that is very funny if you know SpongeBob. even if you don't know what that character is, it's a very funny gag. Nosferatu. That's funny, right? But it's also just kind of interesting to see go back to this. It's a very, very good movie. It's a classic movie that, in some ways doesn't hold up the best. I will say another thing to mention about this movie is essentially there was problems with this movie. It had original film reels burned and things like that. So I believe there's parts of this movie that have never been found. And there's other parts of this movie that have been restored via other versions and stuff. So when you watch the film, no matter what version you're watching, I think it does have like a different soundtrack and different things to that. But I think that's might just be like licensing issues. But the main thing with this movie is that, like, when you're watching it, some scenes have like better transfers than other. Like, yeah, it's on Blu-ray, but like some scenes literally look like maybe a VHS, maybe a DVD. Other parts look a little more cleaned up and a little bit better. So it's kind of inconsistent with any home media release of this movie, just because of like some of the backstory with this. I encourage you to look up in the history of this movie and stuff like that, because I'm summarizing a lot of things, just kind of talking about it. And I think this movie is a fascinating movie, and I can see why Robert Edgers, someone who loves movies, loves horror, is able to, really have such a fondness for that. He has been dying to remake it and re-bring this concept back into our modern times, especially since he's a great director, and this is something I see him doing really well. So yeah, I really loved revisiting this movie. Thank you guys for watching, like, share, and subscribe.